Let me connect to the server. Okay, guys. Okay, so in this session, in the last class, we discussed about the services that will be created when you install the SQL Server, and then folders. What and the folders will be created when you install the SQL servers. Okay. What is the command prompt to create service agent? What is that question, Praveen? I didn't understand your question. What is the command prompt? What is that?
Uh, Actually, in the CMD run, you have typed some LUS.
Okay, okay. What is the command or
Yeah,
what is the shortcut to check the to create the user accounts? Okay.
yes,
So
yes.
LUSR mgr.msc. LUSR local user manager. L means local, USR means user, MGR means manager. LUSR mgr.msc.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So, right. So in the last class, we discussed about the services that will be created after the installation of SQL Server and the folders that will be created after installation of SQL Server. How to identify whether the instance is default instance or named instance. Okay. What is specific services? What are shared services? Okay. These things. Apart from this, we have also discussed how to change the service account. What is service account? How to change the service account? In what scenario will change the service account? Also, we discuss it, right? So generally in the organizations, all the servers, like even you are using 200 servers or 300 servers or 2000 servers, all servers will have a same service account, mostly same service account. Some organizations will use all production servers will use separate service account. All non-prod servers will use separate service account. So like this depends upon the organization to organization. They are going to manage the service accounts, guys. Okay. Apart from this, what else we discussed, guys, yesterday? What else we discussed yesterday? Connecting to the SQL Server, installation of Management Studio, how to install Management Studio, and all we discussed. Okay. So today we'll discuss about the Management Studio, and before that we'll discuss about the small topic like what is this, like how to sign out from the server, how to log off from the server, how to shut down from the server, like how to shut down the server, how to disconnect the server, what will happen when you log off, what will happen when you disconnect, what will happen, in what scenario will log off from the server, in what scenarios we are going to disconnect from the servers, that these things we'll discuss now. Okay, so it's a small topic, so you should know these things. Right, this is the server, right? So to log into the server, generally we'll use RDP. So using that RDP, we'll connect to the server, right? So once our work is done, what we have to do, guys? So I didn't cover these things. Not sure whether, okay, yesterday, you people, once the work is done, what you did, guys, yesterday? Have you shut down the server directly?
Administrator sign up.
Right. So let's discuss those things, okay? So generally, if any work is there, we'll connect to the servers. Once the work is completed, then we have to come back from the servers. So listen carefully, guys. We will never shut down the servers in the organization. In the organization, we will never shut down the servers. If you shut down the servers, that will be your last day in the organization. Okay, why? Because your application will continuously connected to the servers and databases. If your server is up and running, your database will be available. If database is available or online, then only your application will be up and running. So by mistake, if you shut down the server or wantedly, if you shut down the server, application will be down. If application is down, business loss. Imagine if you're unable to access Amazon. Imagine if someone shut down Amazon servers, how loss will be for the Jeff Bezos, the vendor. Okay. Every second, millions of transactions will be there in the Amazon website. So how much loss is going to get, guys? So every application is kind of that kind of criticality will be there, guys. Every application will be critical only, whether it is internal application or external application. Every application is important to us. Okay, so by mistake also, if you shut down the servers in the organization, that will be your last day, guys. We will have rights, permissions to shut down the servers. Okay, so generally how to shut down the servers? If you click on this Windows button, then you can power button, you can see power button, and you can just see a shutdown button, and you can just select any of the planned activity, and you can continue, guys. Okay, so if you do like this, it will shut down, right? So what will happen when you shut down the Windows server? The SQL servers that are running in this machine will be stopped, guys. If the SQL servers are stopped, your application will be down. Then what we have to do without shutdowning? So in the organization, if we have any work, we'll connect to the servers using RDP. Once our work is completed, we are going to log off from the servers. Log off. How to log off, guys? We can just use Windows R. You can type log off. Log off is a command, okay, that will help you to come out from the server. That's it. Your work is completed. You just came out from the server. Okay, the work is completed. Now you are not going to use that work. Now you are not going to use that server. So your work is completed for the day. So you have to log off from the server, guys. If your work is completed, you have to log off from the server. Again, if you want to connect, again you can do RDP and you can connect to the servers. Okay, guys, is this clear, everyone? In your practice, you can shut down, guys. Why? Because once your work is completed, once your practice is completed, you can shut down. No issues. Your server not associated or not tagged with any of the applications currently. So now you can do it in your practice, but in the organization, don't shut down the servers. Okay. So once your work is completed, log off from the servers. Log off is a command we will use, okay, to sign out or to come out from the server. Or else we have also one GUI option, which is sign out. Okay, if you click on user account, just click on sign out button and be very careful. This is very, very important, guys. When you're doing work from home and all, okay, be very careful with the servers. Okay, what people will do generally, they will connect to the servers, they will go to washroom. Of course, sometimes we will go right. So if any kids are there, they will simply come and they will touch the mouse pad and all, and they are going to unknowingly, they might touch other controls and they are going to shut down. Unknowingly. Sometimes what happened, one of the student, what he did is like, instead of restarting the servers, okay, he just touched the laptop with his wet hands. Unknowingly, shutdown button is selected. Instead of restart control, he just selected shutdown. Okay, like it was selected automatically. He just touched the mouse pad with the wet hands. So it was like, if you select shutdown also, you'll get same output. Okay, like this same window you'll get. If you touch restart also, you'll get same window, guys. So what he thought is like he's restarting the server. Then also you can see, while restarting also, you can see shut down this computer. While restarting also, you can see same shutdowning the computer. See, choose a reason that best describes why you want to shut down this computer. You might think we are shutting down. Of course, it is shutting down and again it will restart automatically. There are some scenarios we will restart the servers like during installations. Okay, and during patchings of SQL servers, we will restart the server. So we can restart the servers. We have full rights to do that. Why? Because during installation, you have to restart the Windows server. During patching, you have to restart the Windows server. Before patching and after patching also, you have to restart the Windows servers. With the proper approvals, you can restart the Windows server. But we will never shut down the servers. Once we shut down the server will be out of control. Okay, again, you have to take Windows team help. Like how I'm going to start the VM now. In the same way, as we don't have visibility to this VM console, you have to request Windows team to start the VM. That Windows guy or Windows team will escalate the issue, or in the organizations, we will set up the alerting system. Like how we have fire alarms in our buildings, in the same way, we will have alerting system. Shanmugh, how do they know if I shut down one server? Very simple. Their application will be down. Immediately, if the application is down, immediately the alerting system will send an emails to all the customers and managers, directors, whoever there, they will get the emails like the so-and-so application is down. That is one thing. Second thing, SQL server side also will set up the alerts. So automatically that alerts will come to the whole team. The so-and-so server is down. So that mail will goes to manager also. In the review meetings, they'll ask, the manager will ask why this is down, who shut down the server. So these kind of questions you have to face, guys. So be very careful. We will please be muted. Digvesh, any questions you have? Right, okay. So you have to be very careful, guys, in handling the servers and all. Very, very careful. If you don't have work, immediately log off from the servers. And if any kids are there in your home, please be very careful while going. If you are not there at your desk, always use Windows plus L. What is that Windows plus L, guys? What is Windows plus L?
Lock.
Lock, okay? Windows plus L. Your system will be locked. Okay, if your system is locked, then no one can do anything. Not only in the home, even in the organization also. You will directly connect to the server. You will go to pantry. You will go to washroom. Or you are chit-chatting with your colleagues and all. You are not at your desk. Suddenly someone came and they just shut down the server. Who connected to the server? You are only connected with your name. In the logs, in the records, in the audit, so and so guy shut down. Like for example, you are not at your desk, guys. You connected to the server. Your laptop is like this. You went to pantry, cafeteria. You went to cafeteria. I came to the desk. You are not there. Between you and me, we have some clashes. So I just simply, unknowingly, I just selected shutdown button. So the server, you are connected with your name to the server. So if I shut down also, in the logs, it will show your name only. This guy shut down the server. Why? Because it was shut down with your account. Okay, these are all challenges. These are all experiences, guys. These are all the experiences. Seriously, I'm saying, okay, so if you're not at your desk, either in your home or in the office, always log the computer. Even if you are moving to the next workstation, even if you are moving to the next workstation, still you have to log the servers. This is how we will identify whether the guy is genuine or fake. People, they don't generally lock it. They don't generally lock it while going to cafeteria, or else at least they'll go to the next workstation and all. They don't generally lock it. They'll simply go, they'll chit chat, they'll go to cafeteria, they'll go down, they'll go for lunch. Okay, but still servers will be like this only. Unknowingly, someone can shut down, even though company identified that Shanmugh shut down the servers with your account. Company don't take action on Shanmugh. Why? Because you gave the leverage. You gave the chance to Shanmugh to shut down the server. That is your mistake. You can ask Shanmugh, in the CC cameras will be there, right? They can easily identify who shut down the server and all. They can identify. You can tell them, I didn't shut down the server, someone shut down the server. You can tell them, but that is your responsibility to log the system. If you are not at your desk, if you are not at your computer, that is your responsibility to log the computer. So they'll take the action on you first. Okay, so again, guys, be very careful with the servers and all. Right? So this is your sign out button. So you can see disconnect here. What is disconnect? Shutdown, restart, shutdown will never do. So forget about shutdown button. Okay, for the servers in the organization. Restart, when we will do, guys? Restart. Generally during installations, before installation, after installation, we'll restart the servers. That is one scenario. Second scenario is during patching. Before patching, after patching, will restart the servers. During upgradation, before upgrading the SQL server, after upgrading the SQL server, will restart. During some troubleshooting steps to troubleshoot the issues, we are going to restart the Windows Server. So in these scenarios, we are going to restart the Windows servers. So you know what is log off, you know what is restart, what is shutdown, all these things you know. What is disconnect then? What is the use of the disconnect? When we will do disconnect?
Console will close and your login is as it is on the server.
Very good. Okay, say for example, this is the scenario, guys. Now I want to take the backup of one big database. This is the scenario. Okay, I want to take the backup. When you log off from the server, whatever applications you are using, all the applications will be closed. Okay, when you log off from the server, whatever applications, say for example, you are running some queries. If you log off from the servers while running these queries, the queries will be cancelled. The SSMS will be closed automatically. So log off means whatever work you are doing, for example, you are copying backup files from one server to another server. You log off from the server, that action will be cancelled. Whatever work you are doing, when you log off, all the work will be cancelled, guys. So when you have to log off, when the work is completed, then only you have to log off. If there is no work, everything is completed on the server, then only you have to log off. If you have some work, for example, you are copying the backup files, or you are restoring a database, or you are taking backup on the database with your account. If you log off from the server, that action will be cancelled. Then what you have to do? This is the scenario. Your shift is going to end at 4 o'clock. Okay. At 3:45, you got a ticket. You have to take backup of a 2 terabytes database. It will take 2 hours to complete. Imagine, to take the backup, it will take 2 hours to complete. At 3:45, you are the alone in the shift. You have to take the backup. Okay, so what you are going to do generally? So you will initiate the backup. So once you initiated the backup, at 4 o'clock, if you want to go, you have to wait, okay, for 2 hours to complete this activity. Okay, you have already initiated an activity at 3:45. To complete it, you have to wait till 5:45, something like that. But your cab is ready by 4 o'clock. You have to log off by 4 o'clock. So what you have to do? So if any pending work is there, always you have to disconnect from the server. This is the disconnect button, close button. If you click close button, you will get a prompt and you can click OK. So if you use disconnect, whatever work is there, that will continue, guys. If you use log off, whatever work is there, that will be cancelled. Guys, is this clear, everyone? If you disconnect from the server, even though you initiated a backup, which will take 2 hours or 3 hours or whatever it is, if you disconnect from the server, still it will continue in the background. If you log off from the server, all the actions that you are doing will be cancelled. So tell me, if you have a pending work, what you have to do from the server? Log off or disconnect? Disconnect. If any pending work, if you are running some scripts, you are running some backups, you are running some restores, you are copying some files, some pending work that is currently ongoing on the server, you have to disconnect. Always you have to disconnect. Nothing. There is an issue. There is a problem in the SQL server. You just logged into the server. You fixed that issue. There is no pending work. Then log off from the server. Okay, if there is no work, always log off. The safe method is log off. And if you keep on disconnecting, there is a problem, guys. Your account will be locked with this server. So again, your Windows team has to unlock the account. Okay. So don't prefer to disconnect regularly. If really there is a work, Shanmukh, I don't log off every time I'll disconnect. That is safe for me. People will think like that. That is also not safe. Okay, regularly don't disconnect. If there is an emergency last minute, the work has to continue, your shift is going to end, you don't have time, that much time. So in that case, what you can do, just disconnect from the server. If you keep on disconnecting from multiple servers, your account will be locked, guys. The account that you're using to connect to the servers, that will be locked. Once the account is locked, again, you cannot unlock. You have to request Windows team to unlock. So they are going to unlock. They'll check from which server you disconnected. From there, they are going to log off. So they have to unlock. So this is the challenges with disconnect, guys. But mostly we'll use log off only if there is no pending work at all. If still pending work is there, we'll prefer disconnect button, guys. Okay. Is this clear? Disconnect, log off, and shutdown, restart.
Sir, the log off and sign out are same.
Both are same. Both are. Command is log off and GUI option is sign out. Okay. The command is log off. There is no sign out in the command. Okay. Windows are, if you type sign out, it don't allow us. It don't know what is sign out and all. So command is log off and GUI control is sign out. Okay. In some old servers, you can see log off only. Right? Any other questions, guys? Sign out, log off, disconnect.
Shenmukh, this will be happen only in a remote desktop connection, correct?
Correct, correct.
If what is the procedure for direct connections?
No, we don't get direct connections. I already told you this point in the beginning of the classes. We will never get that visibility. Only Windows team will have that visibility. In our practice, we are the Windows team, we are the network team, we are the storage team, we are the DBA team. So that's why you have visibility in everything. I told you this point, Praveen. You will get simply an IP address. Using that IP address only, you have to connect through RDP. You don't get direct connection. This console will be controlled by the VM team. The console that you can see. If you want direct connection, you should have console control. So you don't get this console control in the organization. Only VM team or Windows team will have control on this. So guys, you don't get direct connection. You will never get it. You will simply have IP address in the ticket. Okay, whatever request or ticket or incident, whatever it is. So in the ticket, IP address will be there. Using the IP address or server name will be there. Using the server name, you have to connect through RDP.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Sir, if we disconnect the system,
Hmm.
then any other user can connect and discontinue our work. Then what will happen?
What will happen, Vibhuti? If you disconnect, nothing will happen. Server will be up and running only. Other users can connect. Only you are going to come out from the server.
If anyone else connect the system, then that work is visible to him or not?
Sorry,
If anyone else connect the system, then the work is visible or not?
no,
Particular that
no. That is not. See, you will have your own account. If anyone is able to connect to the server with your account, they can see your work. They will have their own account. You will have your own account. Okay. So when you connect to the server, with your account, the work that you are doing that you can only see. If any other person is connecting, they can see a background processes. Okay. But they cannot see that you are doing what you are doing exactly on the screen, how you can see the same kind of console they cannot see. But in the background, what you are doing, they can see. Okay, either task manager or in the SQL server, we have some queries, right, to see the processes and all. They can see that. But like, for example, you are copying a file, they cannot see. That is, your account is your private work area. Others cannot see your private work area. Okay.
Background process can be cancelled by other user.
Yes. If they have permissions, they can cancel.
Okay.
See, all are DBAs only. All DBAs will have same level of access, right? So if you are a DBA, and if I am a DBA, if both are in the same team, I can cancel your action. Okay. Clear, guys? Praveen, is that clear?
Yeah, clear, Shenmukh.
Yes. Any other questions, guys?
No, sir.
One minute. Right, fine. Okay. So Chandu means Chandrasekhar, right? Chandu.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, done that. Right.
Shanmugh, one small question.
Yes, please tell me.
As you said now, right? If we want any emergency that we need to disconnect from the server, right?
Correct, correct.
So the same action is we are performing on the laptop and we are taking out the laptop with us. So in that case, for doing the same action, we need an internet connection, right?
I didn't get you, Chandu. You're asking about our laptop, means our practice laptop or organizational laptop?
No. In the organization, in the real,
Okay, in the real time
we are
organization.
taking some backups, as you said, right?
Okay, yeah.
We are taking a backup and we are in an emergency that we need to come out of the organization, like we need to, some emergency is there and we are moving out.
Okay.
So in that case, for performing the same action, that we need to have disconnect from the server and the server will be up and the task will be performing, right?
Correct.
So for performing that task, the same action we are performing in the laptop, the company provided laptop, okay?
See, the same action means what? For example, you want to copy. Okay, you want to copy something from one server to another server. That is the action, right? So if you want to do this action, you will connect to the server and you will perform this action in the server, right?
Okay, we will, I mean, so, okay, that is okay. If we take the laptop with us,
Okay.
at that point of time, there will be no network connection, right? So,
See, your laptops will have internet connection, Chandu. Your servers don't have internet connection.
okay.
And my question is, what is the dependency of internet connection for sign out and log off? So generally, your laptops will have internet connection. Of course, some of the websites won't open. They will block the websites, but your laptops will have internet connection. Okay, so you generally it will be connected to the network, office network. So office network, when your laptop is connected to the office network, so your laptops will have internet connection and they will help us to open some of the sites. If they are really useful, it will help us. In some organizations, YouTube, or in some organizations, Google and all won't open. Okay, but your laptop will have internet connection. Nothing to worry. Your servers are limited with the internet connection. They are not going to connect to the internet. They are going to connect to the intranet. Using that intranet only, will enter into the server.
So even if we take the laptop with us in the cab or to the outside of the organization, even still it will work.
Yeah, it will work. It will work. That's how work from home and all we are doing, right? You can do the same kind of action. The cab also at 3:40 you started one action. What you will do is simply, okay, lock your laptop and you will just carry the laptop in the cab and you can continue the work from the cab also. You can do that. But what happened once you are come out from the office premises, you have to connect to the office VPN again. Okay.
Yeah.
If you are doing work in the cab, you have to connect to the office VPN. From there, you can control the servers. Okay. Yeah. Fine, guys. So that is all about your sign out, log off, shutdown, disconnect, restart of the servers, guys. Okay. Right. So now let's discuss about this, what I can say, SSMS. Okay. So in the last class, we just installed SSMS, right? So let's discuss about the SSMS. So what is this SSMS? What and all challenges are there with SSMS? Okay. So all these things we discussed in the last class. So, I mean, like we haven't
Shanmugh,
discussed. Yes, yes.
could you please brief about how to create the service account just for a 1 minute in short way?
See, very
Service
simple.
account.
You have to create a user. Okay, in the LUSR mgr.msc, you have to create the user. That user will act as a service account. Okay, users, right click, new user. You will give the user name here and you'll give the password here and you are going to, okay, say for example, Sql underscore UAT underscore SVC underscore ACT. Okay, so you'll just give the password DBA123 and then DBA123. And then you have to uncheck this one. You have to check these two challenges. Okay, create and close it. And then go to services.msc. Okay, so just go to which service you want to change the service account, double click on the service account, and then double click on the service, and then you will have logon tab. Go to yes, type yes, and this is the main service. Logon tab, browse, whatever account you want to change, you can change it. In this way, we can change the service account. Once you change the service account, you have to restart the server.
Thank you. Thank you.
And in what scenario will change the service? Generally, during the installation, we'll give the service account, guys. But sometimes for the safe side, what happened is sometimes if service account is not part of the local administrator and all, the installation and all will be failed. Okay, so for safe side, DBS will install SQL Server with the default service accounts initially. Okay, then later once the installation is done, what people will do? They are going to change the service account. Immediately, see, once the installation is done, immediately we don't give that server to the production guys. Okay. After that, after the installation is done, we have to do some post-installation steps like patching the SQL Server with the current updates, and then enabling some settings, running some queries, creating some alerts, creating some jobs. Once everything is ready, then only we are going to hand over the server to the application team. Simply, for example, if you want to construct a home, if you just had a basement and pillars and just 4 walls is not going to complete the work, right? Once this is done, once the pillars, once the walls and all completed, then flooring and all is completed, then we'll go for interiors, then we'll go for the basic needs, electricity, okay, water and all, pipelines and all. Then finally we are going to ready to move to the house, right? So this is how generally when SQL Server is installed, don't think immediately we are going to the last. Yes, Chase, you will get it. Chase, you will get it. Just Chase, do you have my number? I guess you are from Austin, right? Austin or IO? Who referred you? Chase? IO. Okay, done. No issues. Okay. So you can do one thing, just ping me to this number. Okay. So that I'll share the link with you. Okay. I'm just posting the number. Right. Okay. So still, if you are facing challenges, just take my number from IO and just ping me in the WhatsApp. Okay. I'll help you on that. Fine. Yeah. So once who said namaste? Yeah, Chase, namaste. Right. So yeah. So once you install SQL Server, don't think we'll hand over the SQL Server to the production or application team. No, we have to do some post-installation steps. Okay, like patching the SQL servers, like creating some, that's what we discussed, enabling the settings and all. Finally, once everything is ready, then only we'll hand over the server to the application team. Okay, so during that time, we'll change the service accounts and all. In case if you install with the default service account during the installation, after installation, we'll change the service accounts. Okay, so that's how we are going to change the service account. So people generally 50 to 60%.
I have one doubt.
Yes, please.
Sir, in case of restart, the restart operation we have to perform or we have to raise some
Restart,
ticket
we have to perform. Restart, we will perform and we can perform. Okay, restart, we can do that. Okay, so not an issue. Why? Because, and again, while restarting, also a lot of challenges will be there. If it is an old machine and all, you have to be very careful, guys. Okay, generally, a DBA will have restart permissions and shutdown permissions also we will have. Okay, but we cannot shut down the server.
Yes, sorry, sir, not audible. Sorry, sir, not audible.
Guys, can you hear me?
Hello.
Yeah, guys.
Not audible, sir.
Guys, please confirm. Can you hear me?
Yes, Shanmukh.
Yes, Ashwin.
Vibhuti, can you confirm? Can you hear me?
Now, sir, audible, but when you speak that part, I'm not
Okay,
audible.
done. No issues. No issues. Maybe network issues. Okay. So we will have restart permissions and we can do the restart, Vibhuti. Okay. In the organization, we can do the restart. Shutdown also we can do, but we are not supposed to do. That's it. We will have shutdown permissions also, but we are not supposed to shut down the servers. Okay. So for that, you don't need to only restart means you have to take the approvals, or if it is a new server, I told you, right? It is just a new server. You can restart multiple times whenever you want. It's not yet live. You are installing SQL servers, and you have to complete the post installation steps. So then only once everything is ready, then only we'll hand over it to application team. Then only it will be live. Okay, but till you are going to hand over the server to the application team, whenever you want, you can restart. No issues at all. It don't even create any problems also. But once it is live, to restart the server, you have to take application approvals. Application team has to approve that activity. Then only you are able to restart the servers. Okay.
Okay.
Right, fine. So now let's discuss about the Management Studio, guys. So how to open Management Studio? You can just click on Windows and you can just type SSMS. Okay, so you'll get the Management Studio. In earlier versions, in the run, open run and type SSMS, guys. Okay, so using that option, you can just open. So now you can just type SS also. Okay, in the run, in the normal search button. I'm sorry, you can just search with SS also. Just if you type SS also, you will get the Management Studio, guys. So yesterday we have installed this Management Studio. So what is this Management Studio? How we are going to use this? When we are going to use this? Okay, what is session? What is console? Where we are going to write the queries? Where we are going to see the output? How to connect to the servers? Okay, all these things will be discussed, guys. Right. So now my question is, SSMS, as we know that yesterday we discussed, SSMS is a tool. SSMS is a tool which will be used to connect to the running SQL servers, guys. Okay, if the SQL server is running, to connect to the running instances, we will use a tool called Management Studio. Okay, so this Management Studio is introduced from SQL Server 2005. This Management Studio is introduced from SQL Server 2005. So before 2005, we have one more tool called Query Analyzer, which is in the SQL Server 2000. This Query Analyzer is only for SQL Server 2000. Like that is also same kind of Management Studio tool only. So before 2005, for SQL Server 2000 and all, we will use Query Analyzer. Okay, right. From 2005 onwards, Management Studio is introduced, guys. Okay, from 2005 onwards, Management Studio is introduced. So 2005, if you want to open Management Studio, you can search in the Windows, right? You can directly search in the Windows. Why? Because sometimes you have to work on the old servers also. So you should know how to open Management Studio in the old versions. So here directly you can go and you can just check in the SQL Server folders will be there. There you can directly check the Management Studio, or shortcut is SQL WB, SQL WB, SQL web browser. Okay, SQL WB. In the run, you have to use the shortcut. From 2008 onwards, you have to use the shortcut SSMS in the run. 8 R2, 12, 14, 16, you can use SSMS in the run. From 2017 onwards, you cannot use in the run. You can just simply type in the start button. Okay, in the start button, you can just type SSMS, or just SS also will help you. Okay, just if you type SS also, it will help you, okay, to find out the Management Studio, guys. You will get the Management Studio. Right. So this Management Studio is a tool to connect to the instances, right? So the question is, I installed 2019. So, and I installed Management Studio separately. So can I use the same Management Studio to connect to multiple instances? See, I just typed SS, still you are able to see Management Studio. So now the question is, I have SQL Server 2022 in this machine. I have SQL Server 2017 in this machine. So can I use the same Management Studio to connect to other versions instances also, guys? Can I
Yes.
use it?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So the answer is yes, guys. But we have some challenges. Let me tell you those challenges. Okay. We can use Management Studio to connect to any version, guys. We can use one Management Studio to connect to any version. It's not like now I installed SQL Server 2019. So I installed Management Studio separately. So if I installed 2022, no need to install Management Studio separately, guys. Earlier, in 2008, R2, 2012, 2014. So whenever you install one server, why? Because SSMS is inbuilt, right? SSMS is inbuilt up to 2014. So whenever you install the sequels, if you install 2008, you will get one SSMS with 2008. And if you install 2012, you will get one SSMS with 2012. And if you install 2014, you will get one more SSMS with 2014. So there is a chance that if 3 instances are there with different versions, then 3 SSMS are there in the servers, guys. Generally, 3 SSMS also will be installed up to 2014. So the challenge is you can use the Management Studio to connect to every instance, guys. All the versions of instances you can connect using one Management Studio. But what is the challenge here? Imagine you are using SSMS 2016. Okay, you are using 2016 SSMS. So can we connect SQL Server 2014 in SSMS 2016, guys? Can we connect? Or you are using SSMS 2014. Can we connect SQL Server 2016 or 2019 in that Management Studio? Can we connect, guys?
Yes.
You can use downgraded.
So the answer is yes. Yes, we can connect. We can connect. That's what we discussed just now, right? Yes, we can connect. So using one Management Studio, you connect to all the instances of different versions also. That is one point I just want to tell you. But the challenge is, if your Management Studio is lower version, and if you are connecting to the higher version SQL Server, higher version SQL Server don't visible in the lower version Management Studio. Again, I'm saying, I'll give you an example. Always on is an excellent feature for high availability and disaster recovery, which was introduced in 2012. Okay, from 2012 onwards, always on feature has been introduced. You can see here, guys. Okay, I'll show you that. You will get a clarity. I'm connecting to the default instance. Okay, so you can see here always on feature. It's an excellent feature to synchronize the data. Okay, between the primary and secondary servers. So you can see that feature, right? So this feature has been introduced from SQL Server 2012, guys. Now you have SSMS 2008. So as discussed, we can connect a 2012 instance in SSMS 8, right? As discussed, we can connect SQL Server 2012 in the SSMS 2008, right? Agree, guys?
Yes.
So when you connect the higher version instance in the lower version Management Studio, the higher versions features like always on and all, you cannot see in the lower version Management Studio. Is it clear? Sometimes you'll confuse, you'll just type SSMS. If it is old server and all, you'll just type SSMS. You might get 2008 SSMS, you don't check it and you'll directly connect to SQL Server 2012 and you will try to search for the always on feature, which is not visible. You will check the port, what is that build number? Build number is showing 11.0. 11.0 means SQL Server 2012. You are very sure that always on is introduced from SQL Server 2012. Still in the Management Studio, you are unable to see that feature or you are unable to use that feature. What is the challenge? What is the problem? You are using old version of Management Studio. If you are using old version of Management Studio, the latest versions or latest features won't be visible in the old version of Management Studio. That is one challenge with the Management Studio, guys. If you are using higher version Management Studio, no issues. Okay, if you are using 19.1 is the higher version. In this 19.1, you can even connect to SQL Server 2000 also. Okay, lower to higher. If your SSMS is higher version and you are connecting to the lower version SQL servers, no issues. If your SSMS is lower version and you are connecting to the higher version, what is the issue, guys? SSMS is lower version and SQL Server is higher version. What is the issue?
We can't see the
Correct.
updated
Higher
features.
version features we cannot see in the lower version Management Studio. That is the important point that I just want to convey. higher versions features won't be visible in the lower version management studio. So be careful while opening the management studio, especially you have to, when you are using the old servers, you will face these challenges. If you are using new servers and all, there will be no challenges, guys. But when there is a chance, you have to connect to 2008 server. In the same box, 2012 is also there. But when you open SSMS, 2008 SSMS is opened. So in that case, or else while opening itself, make sure to open the higher version management studio. If you have multiple management studios in the box, always tries to open higher version management studio. Okay, for that, if you open higher version management studio, you don't face any challenges, guys. If you open lower version management studio, then definitely the higher version features don't work in the lower version management studio. So this is one thing that you have to remember. Yes.
Shanmugh, then after installing new version, uninstall old version.
After installing new version, can we uninstall the old version, right? You're saying?
Yeah, because instead of keeping all that versions, we can we uninstall
The
old?
thing is, in the lower versions, you don't install SSMS separately. You will install management tools. Yesterday night we discussed it, right? So if you want to uninstall, again, you have to uninstall management tools. If you uninstall management tools, it will create some problems. There are some shared services will be there in the management tools. Okay, so that is the problem. So we don't follow that practice. Generally, if you install latest version of SSMS, we don't uninstall the older version of SSMS and all. Why? Because in the older versions, SSMS is not separated. So we cannot remove SSMS separately. But in the lower latest versions, see here, Windows are appwich.cpl, which is the shortcut for the add or remove programs. So in the latest versions of SQL servers or Windows servers, see, you can directly see Management Studio, you can directly uninstall it. Okay, we can directly uninstall it. But in the older versions, 2012, 2008 and all, you cannot uninstall it. Okay, you cannot uninstall separately. Why? Because it's merged with a management tool. So it will create some problems. Okay.
Got it.
Yeah. Any other questions, guys? Any other questions? Right. So now you can, yesterday we discussed it, right? This is connect button. So let me connect to the default instance. I can use the computer name to connect to the default instance. Okay, very good. And I'll also use, okay, one more name, localhost, okay, to connect to the instance. Okay, let me add this. Okay. Okay, and I can also use local is not working like this. Okay, I have to do like this. Okay, so I have to add the boxes. Right. So now how many instances you can see, guys? Now how many instances you can see total? 4. So but how many instances I installed in this machine?
1.
1. How I am able to see 4 instances then?
Different name.
Different?
Name. I
Same
mean,
instance to a different.
Very good. Okay. So as everyone, okay, I guess everyone will have legal names, pet name, I mean like not pet names. What is that name? We'll call this. In the home we'll have our own name, right? What is that name? Not getting that. Nickname. Yeah, nickname. So everyone will have nicknames. Everyone will have legal names. Okay, and everyone will, our friends will call with a different name, or our parents will call with a different name. Okay, our partners will call with a different name. So the names can be different. At the end of the day, you are the only person to respond, right? You might have 3-4 names. My legal name is different. Okay, and my nickname is different. My friends will call with a different name for fun, and my relatives will call with a different name. I have 4-5 names. Like that, everyone will have at least 2-3 names, right? So that means at the end of the day, you are the only person. In the same way, This is the only instance, guys. The default instance is having 3-4 names. Using 3-4 names or 3-4 methods, you are able to connect to the default instance. Why you should know this means people might use all these methods to connect to the instance. You cannot go to your colleague, hey, where is the instance name? I cannot see the instance name. You cannot ask like this. Why? Because dot is nothing but computer name in the Windows terminology. So you should be able to understand, okay, dot is nothing but computer name. Local host is nothing but computer name. Local is nothing but computer name. So that means all are same only. Using 4 names, you connect it to the instances. You have only 1 instance, guys. You don't have 4 instances. Using 4 names, you connect it to the instance. That's how you have to understand, okay? Dot is computer name. This is your computer name. This is local host is also computer name. Local is also computer name. Like this, we have 2-3 extra methods also there. So that is your assignment. Apart from these 4 methods, what and all other methods we can use, or what and all other names we can use to connect to the default instance. That is your assignment for today evening class, guys. Apart from these 4, what other names we can give to connect to the default instance. Okay, so that is your assignment. Fine. If you see here, this is the play button, guys. What it means? Play button means, okay, currently SQL Server is running. Currently SQL Server is running. And one more thing, if the SQL Server is running, then only you can connect to the instance. So what is this icon called, guys? Service Watcher. What is this icon called? Service Watcher. Okay, so this is called Service Watcher. Sometimes you can see a red button, which is stopped state. Sometimes you can see a white space button. Sometimes you can see a question mark button. So you can see different icons here. Nothing to worry. If you see stopped button or red color button, then the SQL Server is not running. But if you see question mark and all, if you see a white space and all, a circle and all, so nothing to worry, guys. Okay, no need to worry about those things. And all in the organizations, you can see like that. I have a quick question for all of you. This is 192, 167, 168, 137, 39 server, right? Imagine I have 192, 168, 137.40 server. In that also, I have one SQL server. Can I connect that SQL server that is there in the 40 machine in this 39 SSMS?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the answer is yes, we can do. That is called remote connections. That is called remote connection. So the generally developers will connect like this only, right, Ranjana? So you will have only one SSMS in your laptop. You will open that SSMS and you are going to connect to some other names and all. That instance is running in another box.
Yes, Chandra.
So you will have 10 or 20 or 100 or 1000 boxes, but you will use the only one client that is installed in your local laptop. So yes, we can connect, guys, using these things. Using one management studio, you can connect to other box SQL servers also. That is called remote connections. If the remote connections are enabled, then you are able to connect other box SQL Server also in this management studio, guys. Okay. So now this is plus symbol. You can expand this plus symbol. You can see lot of objects. Everything will call as an object in the SQL Server. In the SQL Server, everything will call as an object. Table is an object. Database is an object. Login is an object. User is an object. Everything is an object. Technically, we'll call it an object. So these are all called objects, guys. Okay. If you expand the databases, you can see if any databases are created. Okay. If you see system databases and all, we have a separate class on system database. How many system databases are there? What each system database will do? What is the importance of the system database? So we'll discuss all these things in that class. So security, who can access the SQL server? Who can connect to the SQL server? Yesterday we have added, right, during the installation, we have added this account, right? So that's why this person is able to connect to the SQL server. Generally in the organization, during the installation, we are going to add the whole SQL DBA team. Why? Because this is not for you, not for me. All the DBA team has to access this SQL server when there is an issue. So we have to give access to all the team members, right? So during installation itself, we have to add the whole team. I'll show you in the future classes how to add the whole team. And also we should add a service account also during that add current user screen in the security screen. During the installation, we have to add service account also. So what and all accounts you are adding in that screen, those people can connect to the SQL server. Those people can connect to the SQL server, guys. This is how generally it will work. So, but Shanmukh, after that, if I want to add any other person, can we add? Yes, we have permissions. Very simple, guys. If you have room key, you can go inside the room and you can open the doors. You can welcome other people. But if you don't have room key, if you don't have access to that room, how can you welcome? If you have permissions to connect to the SQL server, you can log into the SQL server. You can give access to others. So what and all accounts you are adding during the installation, initially they can connect, but later you can give access to others also. It means you can create accounts, you can give access respective to the their roles and responsibilities. You can give access to them. So that comes under security. So we'll discuss how to give access and all in the security concepts. Okay. So like this we
Sir, I
have
have one doubt.
yes, yes, tell me.
Sir, if the service account is deleted, then we can connect to SQL server or not?
If service account, what is your question, Vibhuti? Tell me.
So my question is that if my service account is deleted, the active directory, then we can connect to SQL server or not?
First of all, if your service account is deleted, can you run the SQL server?
No.
If you cannot run the SQL server, how can you connect? Right? If the service account is very important, if service account itself is deleted, your services will be down. I told you, right? You can connect to the running instances only. Okay, so if the service account is down, if service account is deleted, services will be down. If services are down, the SQL server itself will not run. Okay, you have to change the service account first. You have to restart the SQL server and then you can connect. Until then, you cannot connect. Okay. Right. These are all like server objects, replication. So slowly, one by one, the features that we are going to use regularly, we are going to discuss. There are some features that we don't use it generally. So we are not going to touch those features and all. But as a DBA, regularly, what and all features, what and all options, what and all objects we'll use. So all these things will be discussed slowly throughout the course, guys. Okay. So these are all like our objects that we are going to, okay, look into it slowly. So this is your agent service. I told you, right? Agent service. Every SQL server will have agent service, guys. So this agent service, again, if you expand this agent service, you can see other objects like jobs, alerts, operators. So everything will be discussed in the automation class, guys. So now I want to run one query. How to run the query? Right click and then you can use new query option. You can choose new query option. This is one way you can run. And another one is like you can select a new query. This is another way. And there is a keyboard shortcut Control+N. N means new. Select the server and use Control+N. I'm just using Control+N. So you are able to open query window. So this is called query window, guys. The deck that you can see here, this is the deck. So this deck is called Object Explorer. This deck is called Object Explorer. See this portion, okay? This portion. You can pin and you can unpin. If you unpin and all, it will be like this, okay? So you can just pin it and you can unpin it, guys. It will be like this, okay? So like this you can see, okay? So this is how you can pin and you can unpin. You can dock and you can undock like this. You can see. Sometimes it will be, okay? What I can say, undock and all, so that the layout generally I'll prefer to use this layout. It will be good. You can still separate this Object Explorer and all, but that is not looking good and all. It will be difficult to handle. Okay. So like this, you can just pin it. You can close it. If you close it by mistake, you close this Object Explorer. From where we can get it again? View, I guess. Yeah. You can see here Object Explorer. Okay. So you can see, guys, Object Explorer. Suddenly or by mistake, if you close this, you can still click on view and you can use this Object Explorer, which is the F8 is the functional keys F8, guys. Okay, right. So now this is the connect button. This is the disconnect button. in case if you want to filter something, okay, for example, if you want to filter the login CRC, filter button is enabled. So it will help you to search, to filter the records and all. Records means not exactly records, objects and all. And this is the refresh button. Okay, you can use this refresh button, guys, so that very important, this refresh button is very important, guys. So whatever you are doing in the SQL server, you always has to refresh. Always you have to refresh, guys. You created one database. If you created a database, generally you cannot see. Okay, if you created any database, you cannot see here. When you can see, if you refresh, then only you can see. So always refresh. Now you can do whenever you want. No need to take approvals for this refresh, guys. It's just a system refresh. Okay, refresh whenever you want, you can do. So like this is kind of a SOAP policy health states and all, like it will show you the health of the SQL server and all. So these are the controls that we are going to use generally. Okay, mostly these 3-4 controls we'll use it, guys. So when you open a new query window, you can see a new query window open here. So let me increase the font here. I'll just give it as 150%. So now I want to run one query, guys. I want to run one query. Okay. So if I want to run the query, now I want to see the version of the SQL server. What is the command, guys, to see the version?
At the right version.
Select at the rate version or print at the rate version you can use. Okay, select at the rate version. And what is the command to see the edition of the SQL server?
Same. Select at the rate version.
Right. Okay, we can use the same command to see the edition also. Okay. So now I want to execute this query, guys. If I want to execute this query, so generally, if only one line query is there, or if only a single script that you want to execute, then you can directly click on execute button. Okay. So this is your execute button, guys. So before executing, you want to check whether this query is right or wrong. You have a parse button. This is called parse button, guys. You have to remember two things. Okay, whenever you are executing a query, always make sure on which database you are executing. You can see here. Okay, you want to execute the same query in another database, you can choose the database from this drop down. If any user databases are created, you can see user databases also from this list. As of now, I don't have user databases. I have only system databases. You want to execute some queries on model database, you have to choose model database here. The same action you can do using command also. What is the command we'll use, guys? What is the command we'll use to change the database name in this? Use database name. Okay, so we are going to run one command called use database name. Now I have two commands. If I click on execute, what will happen? Two commands will be executed. Why? Because I am not selecting, right? If you want to execute only a single command, I don't want to execute this command. I just want to execute the first command. So keep your cursor before the line. The cursor will be changed. The position will be changed like this. It will be. So just click here once, automatically the whole line will be selected. Otherwise, if you are feeling difficulty, just select the whole line and then you can just parse it before executing. Parse will tell you whether the query is right or wrong. If any syntax errors are there, if any semantic errors are there, it will tell you. Okay. Syntax errors means spelling mistakes. Okay. Semantic errors means, okay, for example, this is the syntax error, guys. This is the syntax error. Okay, you can see red mark. If any error is there in the query that you are running, see here, when you keep your cursor, immediately you can see a red line will be there under that particular object. Could not locate entry in this databases for database master. No entry found with the name. Make sure that name is entered correctly. It is clearly saying. So now if I parse this, okay, database master does not exist. Database master does not exist. Or what I can do, I can just add master. Okay, instead of you, I just added one more. Okay, user master. So if I type like this, you can see incorrect syntax. If you see incorrect syntax, that is syntax errors. What is semantic errors then? What is semantic errors? Semantic
Validation whether
errors
objects
means,
exist or not.
yes, very good, very good. Whether the object is existed or not, that is called semantic errors. Okay. So if you see here, use MAST. Actually, MAST, it will treat this MAST as a database name. So this is not existed, right? So this is called semantic errors. If you run it, it will clearly tell you MAST does not exist. So whenever you do the parse, it is going to tell you any spelling mistakes, and it will also tell you whether the objects is there or not. Okay, so that is called semantic errors, and also parse will check the syntax and semantic errors, guys. So always habituate to run this parse button before executing any queries. Two things you have to remember while running any queries. Two things: always habituate to parse it, first thing, and always keep an eye on which database you are running. This is very important, guys. By mistake, if you run on other, see, these kind of queries you can run on any database, not an issue. But while creating, or you want to delete something, so you just ran one delete query. Okay, delete from table name, something like that you want to delete. That delete query, instead of one database, you ran the same delete query on another database, then that will be the last date in the organization, guys. Last day in your organization. Why? Because see, not every company is very particular about these things and all, but some clients are very, very particular about these things. We can do, everyone will do the mistakes, guys. It's not like genuine people don't do the mistakes. Sometimes unknowingly, I'll also do the mistakes. Like I'll also run the queries on different databases, overlook. But some companies, some clients are very particular, guys. If you tell this mistake unknowingly, I deleted the table, then they are not going to tolerate, guys. They are not going to entertain. Immediately they'll release you from the project. So these kind of things, some critical projects will be there, banking environments and all will be there. If the table is very critical, then it is a big problem for you. So there might be a chances that you might face challenges if you do the wrong execution on the wrong databases. So always you have to remember two things. Better parse it. If you don't parse, also not an issue. It will throw the errors while executing. But always check the database name whenever you are running any query. Before execute, just beside that, you can see this, okay, section, or you can also see here. Here also you can see on which database you are executing. Okay, so check that on which database you are executing, and then you have to, if you want to change the database name and all, change the database name, guys. But again, this is very, 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 very important. Before executing any query, check on what database you are running this query. Okay, so now I want to run this query. I have two queries. I want to run this, only this query, so I can choose this, I can execute it. So immediately from model, it was changed to master, guys. So this is the command. If you want to use GUI, you can just use GUI to change the database name. If you want to use command, use database name will help you to change the database context here. Okay, so now it was changed to master. So now if I want to run this query, I can select this command, I can execute, it will tell you the version of the SQL Server and edition of the SQL Server. Keep your cursor here. Your cursor will be changed to double line. Double click here. Okay, don't drag it. Okay, it looks like, it doesn't look like a professionalism. So just double click on it. You can see here. So this is called your version, guys. Microsoft SQL Server 2019 RTM, and this is your bill number. And you can see here the edition is also like developer edition, which is 64-bit and which is installed on Windows Server 2019 Standard Evaluation Edition, guys. Okay, so while running the queries, okay, if you want to run, see now if I don't select, I have two lines, right? If I don't select anything, nothing. Why? Because it is just going to, let me show you this. Okay, now I'm going to run these two queries. I'm not going to select anything. Now I'll execute. See here, the model is, it is showing the context as model. Here also it was changed to model. So, and if I click execute, what will happen? Two things happen now. One is it was changed from model to master. Another one is it is executed selected version also. You can see the output again. So if you don't select the lines that you want to execute, it will execute the whole script that is there in the query window. This is called your query window. This portion, this box is called query window. This box is called output pane. What is this box, guys? Output pane. Okay, so that box is called output pane. So the query window is divided into two parts. Like first part is query window where you can run the queries and all. Second part is your output pane where you can see the output. Okay, you can see the messages and all. Okay, one row affected like this. If any output is there, it will tell you one row affected and all. Okay, so like this you can see, guys. So and once the query is executed in the below line, you can see whether query is successfully executed or not, on what server it was executed, what is the login used to connect to the server. See, this is the login name. This is the login name which was used to connect to the server, on which database it is executed, how much time it took to execute, how many rows output you got. Okay, every detail you can see on the this bar, guys. This, okay, this bar. So it will help you to see the server name, login name, database name, time, and how many rows was affected and all. You can see from here, guys. This is how generally you can see the output. Okay, clear, guys? Any questions here?
So can you run any other query apart from this?
SP underscore Q2. I'll tell you what is this SP underscore Q2. Yeah. Fine. Any issues?
Shanmugh, how many queries will be there in overall? This one?
I don't know. Seriously, I don't know how many queries. Thousands of queries. See, it's not like queries. Okay, we use lot of keywords and all. Okay, a lot of keywords. Big scripts will be there. Hundreds and thousand lines of query will be there. Queries will be there. Scripts will be there. How many queries are there? Even I don't know. Guys, anyone knows the answer for this? How many queries are there in SQL Server? Ranjana is a developer. I guess she can answer. Ranjana, any idea roughly?
No, Shanmugh. See, mostly insert, update, delete. Four things are very important. After that, so many things are there.
Correct.
We cannot remember the account.
Yes. And even I never thought in that way how many queries will be there. Okay. So it's not like that. Depends upon the requirement, guys. We'll use it to run the queries, or we'll use it to write the scripts and all. So sometimes we can see, okay, 1,000 lines of coding also will be there, 2,000 lines or 5,000 lines. So it depends, guys. Depends upon your requirements and all. Generally, queries and all will be there. Okay.
How to remember all these queries?
Not required. I mean, we don't see hardly as a DBA, we use 10 to 15 queries in our day to day. Hardly 10 to 15. More than enough. The two one-line queries, SP Who2, SP Who2, select star from sys.databases, select star from sys.processes, DM execute requests. So like this, hardly 15 queries, DBCC, SQL perf. Okay, DBCC input buffer, like this hardly 15, or if you are still, yours is very big environment, maybe 25 to 30 queries you will use regularly. That's it. So don't worry about it, guys. Okay, no need to, like, we are not developers again. We are no need to remember every statement, every syntax and all, not required. So you can use it. And there is another option, guys. You can explore if you want. Okay, I'll tell you the properties. Let me show you that one. Somewhere we can see properties box and all. There you can see all the queries, guys. Okay, and let me check where it was. View properties box, toolbox. No, not toolbox. Solution explorer, registered service template explorer, or list.
It is properties window.
Yeah. Got it. Properties. This one, somewhere it will be there. Query, connection, execute, pass, display, intelligence, design, editors. I'll show you guys. Okay, somewhere it will be there. Solution explorer. Here you can see the commands for each and everything. Okay, you can see, guys. I'm not able to remember that word exactly. Not edit, and this view only, it should be template explorer. I guess this one. Let me check. Again, when you change the SSMS version and all, like version to version, the names also will be changed, guys, sometimes. Yes. Okay. So now if you see here, backup. Okay. So what is the backup query you want to see? You can just double click here. You can see the backup query, sample backup query. Okay, so like this you can see, guys. Okay, aggregate, create aggregate, and all drop aggregate. See, guys, some of the things we never use, guys. So you don't worry about it. And the database. Okay, in database you want to attach. What is the script you don't know? So just double click on it. You get the script, guys. Okay, detach database like this. So if you don't know, generally you can use this template browser, guys. Okay, template browser like this. You can see lot of objects are there, guys. Right, lot of objects are there. You can just explore this, guys. But again, Shanmugh, do I need to remember to detach this query? To detach the database, do I need to remember this query? Not required. We will do GUI. Guys, as we cannot remember and we are not developers and we are not interested to be a developer. So that's why we came to DBA side. Okay, so no need to remember. Hardly you don't remember 2 lines of coding also. All are single line queries only. Okay, so you don't worry about the coding, guys. As a DBA, we don't touch the coding and all. Developers will be there, they are going to take care of it. Maintenance wise, you can do using GUI. 90% activities you can do using GUI. 10% you can just simply with the knowledge, you can simply generate a script, and by using that script, you can do the activities and all. Okay, so nothing to worry, Praveen. Okay, no need to remember any queries.
But good sir, it happens in all the organization. They actually ask like and some developer knowledge book. It's a multi-package. They just face these things.
See, I agree with you. They might expect a lot of things from you. Okay, so always organizations will expect this, guys. You should have more knowledge, more knowledge, more knowledge, and all. They might expect a lot of things. Okay, but it's not like that. How much capable you are to learn the things, you can learn. Okay, so it's not like they're expecting development and all. Yes, they'll expect development. I agree with that, and it's good to have development knowledge. I'm not saying, guys, you don't believe DBAs with developer knowledge. Again, that's a good profile, very beautiful profile, guys. If you are able to learn T-SQL and all, you can learn it. And if you're very much interested in the coding and all, you can learn the coding and all. Okay, so, but again, DBA means generally, as we don't like the coding and all, the people, those who are not interested, the coding and all, coding part and all, they will only come to DBA side. So it's not mandatory to have the knowledge. Some people will expect, they might expect, okay, they will expect, that's okay. But if they are really asking you, you can learn T-SQL. Okay, you can be good in T-SQL also, like which is coding part. T-SQL means transact SQL. So you can learn T-SQL, guys, if anyone is interested and all. Okay, but again, it's not mandatory. Okay. Fine, guys. So take a break, come back after 15 minutes, 8:45. We'll discuss other things. Okay. Chalo, any questions before leaving? Right. Okay, chalo, guys. We'll be back after 15 minutes and we'll discuss other things. Yeah? So that one will be past the time. Let's see if I forget.
Yes, Shanmugh.
Yeah. Fine. Okay. So let's continue the discussion, guys. Let me go to the server. Okay. Chalo. So these are the queries, guys, that generally will run the queries. Again, we don't run very big queries and all. We'll have a single line queries, small queries one will be there. Hardly 50 to 20 queries we'll use regularly. So throughout the discussion, we are going to discuss all those things, guys. What and all queries a DBA will use generally. Maintenance related queries and all will be discussed, guys. Okay, don't worry. Any other questions before jumping into this? I'll tell you what this number and all. You might have this question: what is this number? Why we are getting this number again? If I open one more query window, I'll get one more number. Okay. So if I open another query window, I'll get one more number. So like that, I can open multiple queries, guys, multiple sessions. I can say this is called one session. This is called one area. Okay. So where I can execute the queries and all. Like this, multiple people can connect to this SQL server. Okay, generally developers and all will connect to this SQL server and they are going to open multiple query windows, and they are going to run the queries and all. Okay, so at the end of the day, all queries will be executed on the particular SQL server only. So we can open almost 32,000 sessions like this, 32,767 sessions, guys, like this. This is called one session. This is called 58 session. This is called 57 session. This is called 55 session. So we can easily track it. Say in this session, administrator is running the queries. So this is called generally, this is called SPID, session ID, guys. This is called a session ID. Okay. And this is called a session ID. So using this session ID, for example, if Anup connected to the SQL server with his name, Anup can see his name here. Okay, computer name or domain name /Anup. Okay, so if Anup is executing any queries, we can track what Anup is executing, what kind of queries he is executing and all. Okay, which will help us, guys. This session ID will help us. Okay, we just ran one query, right? sp_who2. Okay, so if you run this query, generally we can see like the login names and all, who is the login, what he's executing. We can just check it, guys. If you see here, if you expand here, I can see this is with the service account, this is with the administrator, this is the service account again. Like this, we can see the sessions and all. These sessions are running by administrator. Like this, if Anup connected and Anup is running queries, I can see who is running this query, what kind of query he is running. You can see on what database, from what server he connected, and what kind of queries he is running, what is the status of the queries. So everything will be discussed again, guys. I'm just giving you a rough overview. Okay, so all these things we can track it, and which application he is using to run the queries and all. He is using Management Studio query window. So to
So we
run
can
the
track the
queries
IP
and all,
address of machine.
we can
Track the IP address of machine, in which machine the query is run.
I didn't get you, Vibhuti. We can track the IP address.
IP address of machine, in which machine the query was run. Can you track?
We can track the IP address
Yes, yes.
from which IP he is running the queries.
Yes, yes.
We can check the host name. Okay, using the host name, we can track the IP address also.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so like this we can, yeah, like this we can track, guys. So this will be discussed again. We have a separate session and all.
So suppose I am working from home and I connected in my client SSMS to my server. Can I get my host name in that time?
I didn't get your question, Vibhuti. Your voice is not clear actually.
As Vibhuti said, he is connected through SSMS from home, maybe through VPN. So the host name or the IP address will show on the SQL server from which machine he is
It will
executing.
show. It will show. It will show. It will show. Okay, from which machine you connected, it will show it. Okay. Yeah. So this is how generally we can use the SPIDs and all. Okay, these are the sections and all, guys. So we'll discuss about it in the security classes. So we have a role called process admin. During that time, again, we'll discuss all these things. Okay. So what we can do now. So let's create one database. The next is like we have to run some queries. We have to create the tables. We have to insert the values. We have to search the data. You should know these things, like at least create statement, insert statement, like select statement. Okay, so you should know these things and all. So to create any table, to create any object, okay, first of all, where I can create, I should have one database, right? So first what I'll do, I'm going to create one database, guys. So listen carefully what and all things will be created when you create a database. Okay. So now how can we create a database? In many ways we can create a database. We have, okay, query to create the database. We have GUI method also to create the database. So let's discuss the GUI method. So I want to create a new database, right? Which is user database. Let me disconnect all the sessions. I'm going to disconnect, and I'm going to disconnect this as well. Okay, I'm going to expand this here. So now I want to create a new database, guys. As of now, there is no user database, as you can see here. Okay. So now I want to create a new database. So how to create a new database? So right click, new database. Okay, you can use new database. So when you're creating new database, okay, generally it will ask you different values. Okay, what and all values you have to provide, I'll tell you. So when you're creating any database, you have to provide the database name. Okay, so the name of the database you have to provide, guys. So imagine I'm creating a database called batch 51. Okay, I'm creating a database called batch 51 database. So if you see the owner, it is showing default. In the organization, generally as a recommended practice, we have to change this owner to SA. What is SA, guys? SA is a sysadmin kind of login. That is a permanent login that will be there in the SQL server. This is called SA login. Every object databases will have database owners. Okay. And job will have job owners. So like this, some of the objects will have owners, guys. Owner means who is the owner? Those who created that object is the owner generally. Okay. If I create the database with my login name, if I don't change the owner, who will be the owner of the batch 51 database, guys? What login I am using to create the database? Administrator login, right? So administrator is the owner of that particular database. Okay. Who is the owner? Administrator. Default means what? Who is creating the database? He will become the owner of the database. Is it good, guys? For example, I connected with my name, Shanu. Okay. And I'm creating one database and I give the name. And here owner I'm not changing, I'll keep it as it is default. So who will be the owner of this batch 51 database, guys? Who will be the owner of the batch 51 database?
Administrator, user, creator user.
I connected with the Shanmukh user. So who is the owner of this database?
Shanmukh.
Shanmukh, right. So if Shanmukh left the organization, Shanmukh account will be deleted, right? From the Active Directory. So in such cases, it will create problems. The objects don't work as expected. So this is not good practice to keep this as a default value. So we'll give this value as SCA. SCA is the permanent login. No one can delete SCA login. So that's why whenever it is asking owner, either database owner or job owners, I'll show you the jobs, okay? The automation I'll show you. Whenever it is asking for owner, always it's recommended practice to add SCA. Why? Because SCA is the permanent login. No one can delete SCA login. So that's why we don't entertain to keep the owners as an individual users. Okay. If that user left the organization and his account is deleted, then that object may not work properly. So that's not a good option, guys. So that's why we keep the owner as SCA. Right. So now listen carefully. See here, batch 51 I gave, right? Again, I'll delete. See here, what are the changes you can see here? I'll delete. Again, sales database. I'll see here. Again, I'll add Amazon database. Amazon. See here how the files are renaming automatically. So try to understand these values. So let's concentrate on all these values. Okay. So when you create a database, generally 2 files will be created. Okay. How many files, guys? 2 files will be created. I just resume the recording, right? So when you create a database, 2 files will be created. Okay. So what are all those 2 files, guys? By default, you will get 1 data file and you will get 1 log file, guys. By default, every database should have these 2 files. Without these 2 files, you cannot create database. Data file and log file. We'll discuss, guys, in the evening session. We'll discuss internally what is data file, and if we go internally, how the things will be organized. Okay, will be discussed. Log file, what it will do and all, we'll discuss. So by default, when you create any database, okay, you are going to get 2 files. One is your data file. This is the data file name, logical name, and this is the log file name. So to identify the log file or the difference between data file and log file generally appended with the underscore log. Okay, Amazon database name underscore log. So if you expand this file type, you can see rows data. Rows data means data file. As of now, remember like this. Log file is a temporary storage area. Data file is a permanent storage area. Okay, as of now, remember like this. Why we need 2 files, Shanmukh? Why? Because log file will store the data temporarily, whereas your data file will store the data permanently. Okay, so generally in the event of failures and all, you are inserting millions of records. You're inserting millions of records. It's not going to take 1 minute or 2 minutes to write the whole data. The millions of records, you cannot write the data to the disk in fraction of seconds and all. It will take time. So during the time where the data will be stored temporarily in your log file. So whatever data you are getting from the application, that data first it will goes to your log file. The log file is the entry point of the database, guys. Log file is an entry point of the database. Whatever data you are getting from the application, first that transaction, we can say that is a transaction. Okay, I'll tell you what is the data, what is transaction and all. Okay. So the transactions first it will goes to log file only. Every transaction will have a state, committed and uncommitted transactions. Different states will be there. So based on the committed and uncommitted states, the data will be moved from log file to data file. The data will be moved from log file to data file. Try to understand this as of now. Again, we'll be discussing the evening session. Don't worry, I'll explain the diagrams. So log file stores the data temporarily until the data is going to be committed to the data file. Okay. So data file actually, it cannot store, okay, it cannot store as a individual file. So data files will be stored in the file group. Okay, data files will be stored in the file group. So let me help you on this. I have one diagram. Let me check the diagram, guys. How the things will be organized internally. Okay, so let me check where we can get the diagram. What you can see on my screen, guys? What you can see on my screen?
What did you ask, Sanmuk?
Yeah. What you can see on my screen currently?
Right.
The notepad.
Notepad.
Notepad. Okay, done. Just a minute, I'm checking the images. Right, okay. And yeah, now you're able to see my screen, right? Right. So this is how things will be organized internally in the SQL Server, guys. Try to understand this diagram, okay? I'll try to decrypt it, okay? If you have any questions, you can ask me. So if you see here, the SQL Server means collection. Yes, please. Right, I just muted you, Srikanth. If you have any questions, you can unmute and you can ask. Right, in the SQL Server, now generally instances will be there. So instance is nothing but one SQL Server. Right, one SQL Server software is called one instance. If you go inside the instance, okay, what will be there, guys? Databases will be there. If you go inside, this is what you can see. This is the instance, and inside the instance, you can see databases. Okay, you can see the databases. So if you go inside the database is nothing but collection of data file and log files. Database is nothing but collection of data files and log file. Okay. So generally any data will be stored in the databases only. In the SQL Server, any data will be stored in the databases only. So database is nothing but collection of data files and log file. So inside the database, you'll have file group concept, guys. Inside the database, if you go inside the instances databases, inside the database, if you go, you'll have file group concept. So I told you, right, the files cannot exist independently. So they can exist only in the file group concept. So inside the database, if you go, this green color one, you can see file groups. The files will be created in the file groups. And again, at the same time, log files. Log files doesn't contain any file group concept. The file group concept is there only for data files. File group concept is there only for data files. If you go inside the database, two objects you will have. One is file groups and second one is log files. So let's go inside the file groups. If you go inside the file groups, you will have data files. You will have data files. We have two types of data files. One is MDF file .mdf master data file. Second one is .ndf next or new data file. Okay, if you go inside the file groups, you'll have two data files. One is MDF master data file. Second one is NDF next data files. When you create a database, actually, one MDF file. Yes, please.
Sharma,
Yes,
what
yes.
is dot LDF means?
That's what I'll explain. Don't worry. Okay. Right. So when you create a database, generally one MDF with one LDF will be created, guys. When you create a database, you will get two files, right? One is data file. The extension would be .mdf. Okay, what is .mdf? This is actually an extension of the data file. So when you create a database, okay, so it will create a one .mdf file, which is data file, permanent storage area, and one LDF file, which is log file. LDF means there is no particular abbreviation, but I can say that is actually a log data file. Not sure whether what is the D. D is related to data or what, but again, that is a log file. We'll treat it as a log file, but the D is abbreviation, mostly it will be log data file only. Okay. So now this MDF cannot create without file groups. Okay. So automatically a file group also will be created when you are creating a database. The default file group is called primary file group. This MDF does not exist without file group, right? So when you are creating a database, automatically a file group also will be created. That file group is called primary file group. Shanmukh, can we create more file groups? Yes. We can create 32,000, okay, 767. Listen this, remember this number, guys, very important. So 32,767 is a magic number in the SQL server. You can create 32,767 databases. You can create 32,767 file groups. You can create 32,767 files. You can create 32,767 logins. We can create 32,767 users. So this is a magic number.
Sir,
Yes.
full size 32,767.
Sorry.
We can create 32,767 each file.
Yes, 32,767.
So we told that 32,767 files we can create.
Yes,
That
we
was
can create.
each file.
Correct.
MDF, LDF.
The combination of MDF and LDF will be 32,767.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is how generally this 32,767 is associated with many objects in the SQL server, guys. Okay. So as when you are creating a database, okay, when you are creating a database, MDF is the first file that will be created. Okay. So every database must and should you will have MDF file. Without MDF, there is no database. So if this MDF has to be created means you should have file group, right? So the file group also will be created when you are creating the database, right? Shanmukh, the MDF file is not sufficient for me. So I need more files. Can we add extra files? Yes. We just discussed it, right? we can add extra data files also, NDF files. So by default, you will get one MDF, one LDF for the database. If we want to add extra files, still you can add extra files to the database, guys. But generally in the organization, what is the use of MDF file, master data file? MDF file stores the metadata of the database. You are creating sales database. Sales database metadata will be there, right? Metadata means what? Information about that particular database, like what is the database name, what is the database ID. So related to that particular database, the internal information of that particular database is called metadata. So metadata will be stored in the MDF file generally. So there is a recommendation that generally it's not good practice to store the user data in the MDF file. Okay, if you are creating some tables and all, user related tables and all, it's not recommended. Microsoft recommended don't create user related tables in the MDF file, as MDF will store metadata. So if MDF is free, so that your database processing and all, like the performance and all, will be good. So Microsoft recommended that one, but people, they don't follow this particular recommendation. So they'll try to create the data in the MDF file only. Like whatever database they are going to create, immediately they'll start, okay, pushing the data inside the particular database and all. If you want to store the data, extra data and all, like MDF is not sufficient. For example, you store this MDF file in OneDrive. Right, you store this MDF file in OneDrive. So now the drive is full. Now that particular drive is full. Now you cannot move this file. You don't want to move this file, but the database, like generally databases, we have different sizes of databases. Sometimes very small databases will be there, 100 MB, 200 MB in the organization. Sometimes 2 terabytes of database, 3 terabytes of database, 10 terabytes of database also will be there. 10, 15 terabytes, 16 terabytes database also will be there. Very big databases also will be there. In that case, generally, if MDF file is created in OneDrive, imagine if it is created in some D drive and all. Every drive, we have different types of drives again, MBR partition, GPT partition. So MBR means there is a limitation for MBR, I guess only 2 terabytes, maximum disk size is only 2 terabytes. So if that drive is full, why? Because you don't only store one database, right? In that particular drive, you will store multiple databases. If this drive is full, now you have to, still you have to insert the data. Where you can insert the data? The drive is full means the file that is storing in the drive also, there is no empty space to insert the data. So what we will do, we will add one extra data file to that particular database in another drive. Guys, is this clear? If MDF is full, we'll add, again, full means you have to consider a lot of things, okay? Generally, if the drive is full, if it is 200 GB drive, guys, if it is full, what we will do? We'll directly add NDF file. Tell me, the drive is 200 GB. The drive is full. What we will do in this?
The maximum size of the drive will be what?
Yeah, will increase, right? Will increase. First, we'll extend the drive size. So it depends upon the limitations of the drives. Drives can be extended till 2 TB. MBR can be extended. GPT can be extended, but MBR is having the limitation of 2 TB. So first we'll try to increase the disk up to 2 TB. Still, if 2 TB is already full, then Windows team will give another drive, which is E drive or F drive. In that drive, we'll create NDF files. So if one file is full, we'll try to use another data file. Like this, we can add multiple data files, okay, for database, guys. Like this, we can add multiple data files per database, okay? So this is how generally we are going to manage the things.
What is file group?
What is file group? What is file group, Vibhuti? You only tell me what is file group. What we discussed about file group.
As per your discussion, file group contain only data files.
Correct. That's it. Collection of data files is called file group. Okay. Yeah.
Can we create more than one file group?
Yeah, we can. That's what we discussed, right? 32,767. We can create multiple file groups.
By default, it will be primary file group.
By default, you will get primary file group, but if you want, you can create multiple file groups. Okay, from the database properties, you can create multiple file groups. Okay, if you go to this and here, while creating the database, you'll have a section called file group section. You can add file group from here. You can create multiple file groups also.
So suppose I want to add the .df file in primary file group, and my user data will store on another NDF file.
You can
So
do that. That's the best recommended practice. Okay, when you
and that
create
NDF file will created in another file group.
correct. You can yeah, you can do that. See, I'll show you now itself. Okay, so this is the data file, right? This by default data file will be created in the primary file group only. Okay, by default the data file will be created in the primary file group only. I cannot move this data file to the another file group. This is by default you will get it. So now first I'll create the database, then I'll show you. Okay, then I'll show you. We can still create another file group and we can add another file that comes to now itself. I'll show you. See, I'm adding one file group, add file group. So the file group name is FG2. Okay, right. Now if you go to general page, if I want to add extra file, I can click on add file. I'll give Amazon F3, Amazon underscore F3. Okay, so now I'm going to change the file group from primary to FG2. Clear? We can do that. I'm going to cover all these things slowly. Okay, but again, if you ask, means other people will confuse. Okay, slowly we are going to cover. Right. So I'm going to remove the file group now. I'm not going
Extension
to.
will be same. Extension will be different for different file group, is it?
See, file group doesn't have any extension. Files will have extension.
Okay.
Yeah, file groups doesn't have any extension. It's a group of files, right? So it doesn't have any extension. Only files like data file or log file will have an extension. Okay.
So one more doubt. In one database, we can create 32,767 data files.
Yes.
And in 32,367, one is .mdf, rest
Remaining
of
all .ndf files only. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Only one MDF we can create, guys. We cannot create multiple MDF files. Only one MDF file. If you still need one more data file, that would be an extension of .ndf only. You cannot create multiple MDF files. You can create multiple data files, but only one MDF file will be there per database.
What is the main benefit of file groups?
Very good, like very simple. Here, to organize the things properly, I want to create a particular table in a particular file of file group. I can create the table in a particular file, and this file can be created in another file group. So ease of administration, ease of access. Okay, so for the purpose of ease of administration and ease of access, I can create. Right. So this is your, and before that, let me show you this path. In this path, it is going to create the files, right? So as of now, I'm going to show you this path, this data path. So you can only see the system database. See here, every database will have, I told you, right? Every database will have one data file, one log file. These are all related to the system database. Master, we have 4 system databases: master database data file, master database log file, model DB, model log file. Okay, we have added from SQL 2019 onwards. It was added, like this was added, guys, for master model database. So again, like we have model database log, okay, and we have MSDB database, MSDB log. I'll tell you what is master model, MSDB, temp DB, what it will do. So every database by default, it will have 2 data file. 2 files. One is data file and another one is log file, guys. So now you don't see any sales Amazon database, right? I'm creating Amazon database now. You don't see any files related to Amazon database. But when I click OK, automatically 2 files will be created in this location. Okay, I'll show you. Just before that, I just want to show you there is no Amazon files here. Okay, let me minimize this. So let me come back to our diagram. So if you see here, file groups, inside file groups, we will have data files. Inside data files, we will have Again, the data files internally organized like extents. That the
So
file
how many log
groups,
files we can create?
you can create multiple, same like data files only. You can create multiple log files.
Multiple,
But
there is any specific number?
same 32,767 you can create.
Okay.
But again, we don't create multiple log files. It's not a good thing to create in the organization. Generally, only one log file will be there. Multiple data files will be there, but multiple log files won't be there. Generally, it's not recommended practice to create multiple log files and all. 99.99% is one database, only one log file will be there. Okay. Right. So in the data files, if you go internally to the data files, you will have extents. This purple color boundary you can see, you will have extents. So what is extent? Extent is nothing but collection of 8 data pages. Okay, if you count it, 8 pages will be there. So database internally, if you go, file groups and log files will be there. If you go inside the file groups, data files will be there. If you go inside the data files, extents will be there. Extent is nothing but 8 data pages, collection of 8 data pages. So in the extents, you'll have pages. So at the end of the day, when you are creating a table, each table will be created on an 8 KB page, guys. Listen carefully. When you are creating a sales table, that will be created on the page. Page is basic storage unit, guys. Page is basic storage unit. Okay. Page is basic storage unit in the SQL Server. When you create a table, SQL Server will allocate a page, allocate a page from the extent. Okay. When you create a table, you are creating a sales table. Okay. So SQL Server will allocate an 8 KB page to your table. If this page is full, SQL Server will allocate one more 8 KB page. Like you are inserting, you keep on inserting records. SQL Server will keep on allocating the pages to you guys, to the table. Okay, if you keep on inserting the records, the SQL Server will allocate extra pages and all to each and every table, guys. If you are not inserting, your table will be limited to a single page. Can I create multiple tables in the single page? Page is not shareable. Okay, page is not shareable. You can create only one table per page. Guys, these are like little bit internals we are going. If you are not able to understand, nothing to worry. Just for the extra subject only. Mostly interviews, they don't touch this. If you go for 7 years, 8 years experience and all, they might ask you these things. But again, nothing to worry. And yes, those who are from non-technical, watch the recordings again and again, try to understand it. Okay. So, but again, don't worry about
sorry
this.
Shanmugh, is this page is fixed, or can we define while creating the database?
This is fixed. The size of the page is fixed.
So
We cannot
define
change. We cannot change this 8 KB size. It is fixed. We cannot increase or we cannot decrease the size of this page.
But Shanmugh, this is very less size give
Yes,
pages.
yes,
I
very
mean,
good. Very
how?
less size. Yeah, I can understand. So the thing is, for example, I'll tell you. Okay. So imagine sales table is created, okay, on 200 pages. 200 pages. Okay. When you run select query, select star from sales query, these 200 pages will be loaded inside the memory, okay, to read the data. So you might ask this, Shanmugh, the page size is too less, right? How 8 KB it can organize? Imagine I gave 8 GB. Instead of 8 KB, I gave 8 GB. So 8 GB or 8 MB, if I gave that 8 MB page, 200 into 8 MB, when I load this particular, when I run this query, all the 200 pages will be loaded inside the memory. So if the page size is big, okay, it will take time to load inside the memory. If it is small chunks, it will be loaded inside the memory quickly. Instead of 8 KB, you might expect 8 MB, 8 GB and all. What is the challenge? If you have page size is more, if the page size is big, when loading these pages inside the memory, it might create some performance issues. It might take some time to load inside the memory, which will cause the performance issues. If the page size is less, like a kind of small chunks, these pages are lightweight pages, can be loaded inside the memory very quickly. Okay, then you can ask Shanmukh, why 8 KB? I'll go for 2 KB. That is too small, right? The performance will be improved, right? So go for 2 KB. If you go for 2 KB, how many pages has to load instead of 8 KB? Instead of a single 8 KB page, how many pages has to load inside the memory?
4.
4 pages. Excessive pages means instead of 200 pages, how many pages? 200 into 4? 800 pages has to load. Excessive pages also will create performance issues. So if the page size is too big, also will create performance issues. If the page size is too small, also will create performance issue. So intermediate, so what Microsoft did is it just fixed an intermediate value, which is 8 KB. So 8 KB pages are generally, when they just tried with other sizes also, but when they did trials and all with other sizes, they might have seen some performance issues. So intermediate, they choose this option as 8 KB. So that's why the page size is 8 KB. So if the page size is too big or too small, it will create performance issues while loading inside the memory. Okay.
Yes,
This 8 KB is logical, right? Not
Logical.
physical.
Yes. So I'll tell you the
This is
logical
not
hierarchy and logical
not-
hierarchy and physical hierarchy. Yes. I'll tell you the logical hierarchy of SQL Server, physical hierarchy of SQL Server means how pages will be organized or how objects will be organized logically, how objects will be organized physically. I'll show you guys. Yes, you're asking something.
means this is not seems like to be related with some datas and all, because you have written select star from sales. So I thought this is related to somewhere table data, because millions of records are there in the table.
Yes.
Then what this
See,
8
that's
KB,
what
8 KB
it's,
table
there
means
is
that too
no,
only 8.
that's what, there is no scientific, but they did trials and all with different sizes. They have faced some performance issues, so they just designed. And if you go and search in the Google, in the Microsoft also, you don't find relevant answer to this why page size is 8 KB. Those who are working with Microsoft, okay, they might can answer better. But if you go and search, this is the relevant discussion that you can find. If the page size is too big or too small, it will create some performance issues while loading inside the memory.
Okay, can a table is part of multiple extents?
Sorry, multiple?
The table can be part of multiple extents.
Yes, I'll tell you. Okay. So like this, I told you, right? So here 8 pages, 8 pages, 8 pages. So now how many pages? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like this, 3 more pages, 8 KB plus 8 KB plus 8 KB. Okay, so total this is 8 pages, right? So the whole 8 pages, this is one set of extent. So if your table is extending these 8 pages, means if your table need more pages, SQL Server will allocate one more extent it will allocate, which is collection of 8 pages. Okay, so first it will allocate one extent, guys. I'll tell you how it will be. Generally, when you are creating a new table, SQL Server is a very intelligent processor. SQL Server is very intelligent software. So when you create any new table, not sure whether you are going to insert the records or not. Okay. So if SQL Server allocate one extent for you, what you are going to get, guys? 64 KB. What is the extent size? 8 pages, right? Extent is nothing but 8 pages. Collection of 8 pages is called one extent. So if it's directly allocates an extent, you will get 64 KB. Who knows if you are just inserting one record? Right? You might insert only one record. You may not use that table in future. So you are going to waste 64 KB, right, for one record. So what SQL Server will do, initially it will allocate one page from the we have different types of extents again, mixed extent and uniform extent. So to save the storage, mixed means uniform means all the pages belongs to a single table. Mixed means all the pages belongs to different tables. Okay, so let me show you the diagram. You will get a better idea. Google uniform and mixed extents.
But this and all managed internally through the server.
Internally. We don't.
So we need to have knowledge. We are doing there. Otherwise, no need to do it manually or kind of that.
See, manually we don't do anything. We don't do anything manually. Okay, this will be internally managed by SQL Server only. Okay, so if you see here, this is mixed extent. Okay, and this is your uniform extent. So if you create a sales table, your sales table 8 pages, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages. So your sales table will be created across all the 8 pages. Means your sales table will use all these 8 pages. So if one table is created across the extent, that is called uniform extent. Only one table will be there here. Whereas mixed extent, all the 8 pages, okay, can be shared with 8 objects. Means one page, one table. Okay, index. Forget about this index and all, I'll tell you. Table 2, table 3, table 2, table 3 means the pages will be shared for the page will be shared for the tables, guys. Means if you go to mixed extent, all the 8 pages, you can create 8 different objects. Each page, one object you can create. Whereas in the uniform extent, all the 8 pages belongs to a single object. Here you can, in the mixed extent, one table can be sales, one table can be orders, one table can be employees, one table can be salaries, one table can be designation, something like that. But here in the uniform extent, only sales table will be there across 8 pages. So to save the storage and all, first SQL Server will allocate a page from the mixed extent when you are creating a new table. If that is not sufficient, if SQL Server feels that the table is going to insert with multiple records, millions of records, then the subsequent allocations will be uniform extent to store the storage, to save the storage of the particular file system, guys. Initially, to save the storage, it will allocate a page. So you just created one table and you just inserted one record. So if it gives only 8 KB, you are going to waste only 8 KB. If it is allocated the whole extent, you are going to waste 64 KB. 8 times you are wasting. So that's why first time it will allocate a page from the mixed extent. So the page is not shareable, guys. On one page, only one table can be created. On one page, only one table can be created. You cannot create multiple tables. You just created one small sample table with one column. So lot of space is there inside the page. Still you cannot use. Once the table is created on one page, the table will be locked with that particular page. Now you cannot use this space to create one more table, even though you have enough free space is there. Okay, so when you are creating one more table, SQL Server will allocate one more page for it. So that's how it is going to internally organize the things, guys. You don't worry about it. Everything will be organized by SQL Server. That's why I told you SQL Server is an intelligent system. Everything will be organized by the SQL Server itself. Yes, please.
Sir, in one table, how many, in one page, how many tables we can create?
In one page, that's what, in one page, only one table, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, page is not shareable. Extent is shareable, but one page, one table. But if table is big, see again, page is not shareable. Page is a basic storage unit of a table. Page is not shareable. One page, one table. Blindly, you can remember this. But one table can use multiple pages. Why? Because if you are inserting millions of records, if one 8 KB page is not sufficient, so SQL Server will add one more page, one more page, one more page. See here, The same table one is stored across multiple pages. One table can use multiple pages, but one page, okay, one page, okay, can be created. We can create only one table on a single page. Don't confuse here. On a single page, only one table will be created, but the same table can be extended to multiple pages if you are keep on inserting the data. Okay, so this is how the data will be organized internally, guys. So inside the SQL Server databases, inside the databases, file groups and files, okay, file groups and log file, and inside the file groups, we'll have data files. If you go inside the data files, you'll have extents. If you go inside the extents, you'll have pages. Okay, you'll have multiple data pages and all will be there in your particular, okay, SQL Server. This is how it will be organized. So page is a basic storage unit. Extent is a basic allocation unit. SQL Server will allocate one extent or one page from the extent. So extent you can call it as a one allocation unit. Page is a storage unit. So we have different types of extents, uniform extents and mixed extents, guys. Uniform extent means all the 8 pages belongs to a single table. Mixed extent means all the 8 pages belongs to different tables. Okay, so now if you see here, let me quickly conclude this, guys. So I'll explain about all these things like primary file group, initial size and all. So it will take, I guess, 15 more minutes. Don't want to take extra.
Can we define the file size?
Define file size means depends upon the files only. Okay, means you're asking,
like,
can we limit the file size? You're asking.
Yes, yes.
You can limit the files. If you limit the files automatically, okay, file group will be limited. Yeah. And there is no specific settings to limit the file group. Okay, but you can limit the file. You can see here, right? Unlimited is there, right? I can limit the file. This one, I can limit it to 100 GB or whatever it is. I can limit it this file size.
Yeah.
This is what you are asking, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I can limit the file size, okay, but not file group.
Yeah.
But
File
if you
may take the entire,
see, yeah, if you
group.
internally limit the files, then automatically you are limiting file group also, right? Right. So guys, what we will do, just give me 10 minutes. I'll try to explain this so that we'll create a database. In the next class, we'll create tables and all. So primary file group, is this clear about primary file group and all? See here, log file doesn't contains any file group. See, for log files, it is showing file group is not applicable. For log file, there is no concept of file group. So initial size of the file, generally by default, you will get 8 MB file, data file, 8 MB log file. So initially you'll get 8 MB data file and 8 MB log file, guys, initially. But definitely in the organization, 8 MB is too small. So what we will do, please be muted. Yeah. So again, I'm going to, yeah, just muted you, Venkat. Okay. So initially it will be like 8 MB file size. Initially it will be 8 MB file size, guys. Later, of course, this 8 MB is not sufficient in the organization. So we are going to keep on creating the tables and all, keep on inserting the records and all. So the table sizes and all will grow, right? So who will again allocate some size to here to the files and all? Very difficult, right? Because in the organization we have to maintain thousands of databases, and each database will have 2 files. So I cannot, minimum 2 files. I'm saying minimum 2 files. I cannot go and check each and every file, and I cannot go, okay, this file size is less, so I'll increase again the file size. That is not good option. So that's why we'll use auto growth option. Once this 8 MB is full, you can go for auto growth, enable auto growth. So you can give some values in percentage. If you give 10%, if this 8 MB is full completely, how much MB will be added, guys? Tell me quickly. If this 8 MB is full, how much MB will be added? If you choose in percent 10%.
I think
So 10% of 8 MB, how much? 0.8 MB, right?
2.8.
Yeah, so 8.8 MB will be the new size. That 0.8 MB will be added to this. Or if you give 50% here. Once this 8 MB is full, automatically 50% will be added. So what is the 50% of 8 MB?
4 MB.
4 MB.
Four.
So what is the new file size of this? 12 MB.
12.
If 12 MB is full, again, how much it will be added?
4.
No, why 4? The initial size becomes
Okay.
12 MB now.
Oh, 6 MB.
So 6 MB will be added. So 12 plus 6, 18 MB. If 18 MB
18.
is full,
Got it.
again 50% of 18, 9 MB.
9.
18 plus 9, 27. 27 MB. If 27 MB is full, again 50%. Like this, it will keep on adding the percentage. If you choose in megabytes, if you give 1024 megabytes, generally we'll use this practice in the organization. So we'll go with 1024. Now this 8 MB is full. What is the new value of the file size if the 8 MB is full? If the 8 MB is full, what is the new value of the file size if you choose this setting?
32.
Sorry, how much?
No, 9 MB.
9 MB.
9 MB, sir.
9 MB.
1032.
9 MB.
1034. No.
32.
How come it will be 9 MB? Tell me. Shabir?
1024 megabytes. Sorry, it's MB. Sorry. It's in MB, not a bit.
Yeah. So 1024 MB, 1 GB will be added directly. Who will go for percentages and all? Chalo, if 8 MB is full, let's add the 1 GB directly. So 1024 plus 8 MB, 1032 MB. Okay. If again 1032 MB is full, next how much MB will be added? Again 1024, 1024, 1024, 1024, 1024. Like that it will keep adding, guys. Adding means what? From where it will add? Tell me. From where it will add? From the C drive only, right? Why? Because my files are storing in the C drive, right? So it will add from the C drive only, right? It cannot add from the other drives. Why? Because your file is storing in the C drive. So if it is keep on adding and all, till what point it can grow? Till there is a free space in the C drive, it can grow, right? Till 8 GB it can add, or hardly till 9 GB it can add. After that, what will happen? The drive will be full. After that, what will happen? You have to request Windows team to extend the drive. They are going to extend by 50 GB or 100 GB or 200 GB or 500 GB or 1 TB or 2 TB. Depends upon your requirement, your application requirements. They are going to add the storage. Is this clear, guys? Auto growth, how auto growth will work, how data automatically grow, how the files will be automatically organized. Is it clear, everyone? Auto growth is very important. So auto growth, when you choose auto growth, you should choose auto growth. Why? Because it's very difficult to manage each and every file in the organization. So generally we'll go for 1024 MB or in mega. Generally people don't prefer to give percentage. Why? Because at one point, if your data file size is 2 TB. If your initial data file size is 2 TB, if you choose 10% or if you choose 50%, again and again, I cannot change the percentage value, right? If you choose 50%, what is the 2 TB? 50% of 2 TB, 1 TB should be added. So if there is no 1 TB free space in the C drive, it will be failed, right? So that's why we don't prefer to use in percentage. We use 1024 MB only in megabytes, 1024 MB. So whenever the file is full, automatically it will add 1 GB to the existing file. And that 1 GB, from where it will get it? In which drive the files are going to create, from that drive, it will add the 1 GB.
Initially, it will be 8 MB. After adding, it will be add more 1 MB extra. Total 9 MB, no?
1 GB, sir. This is not M. This is what 1024 MB. How much? Tell me.
1 GB.
Then again, why it was 9 MB? This is 8 MB. This is 1020. This is 8 rupees. This is 1024 rupees. How much total?
Okay.
Why you are treating this as 1 MB? This is not KB, in megabytes. In megabytes.
Okay.
In megabytes. Megabytes means MB. 1024 MB, which is 1 GB, is directly adding. It shouldn't be clear, right? This is MB. Clearly, it is showing in megabytes. If it is KB, then it will be 9 MB. It is MB, so it will be 1 GB. So 1 GB plus 8 MB, 1032 MB total it will be. So like this, it is going to manage the things internally, guys. Okay. So if you turn on auto growth, automatically it will be enabled and it will grow by 1024 MB automatically. So this is how generally file sizes and all will grow automatically. But there should be, see, if it is keep on adding 1024, from where it can add 1024 if we don't have enough free space. So from where you are getting the free space? From this drive. So until there is a free space in the drive, it will add 1 GB, 1 GB, 1 GB, 1 GB. At one point, that 1 GB, if it is adding 1 GB to this file, so the free space will be 7 GB. Again 1 GB, the free space will be 6 GB. Again 1 GB, 5 GB, 4 GB, 3 GB, 2 GB, 1 GB, 0 GB. So there is no free space to extend. So in that case, what you have to do, you have to request Windows team to add the storage. They are going to add the storage. Later again, once you added 100 GB, again the files will grow automatically. Is it clear, guys? Everyone? Everyone, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so like this. So I don't want to store, Shanmukh, I don't want to store these files in the C drive. Can I store in another drive? Yes, you can choose another drive also. You can give another drive also. And you can create folders there and you can choose that path. So that generally in the organization, we will store all the data files in a separate drive. We will store all the log files in a separate drive. It's not mandatory that both files should be in the same drive, same folder. All the data files will be stored in the data drive. All the log files will be stored in the log drives, guys. That's how we will organize the files in the organization. So if you want to change the drive, you can just click on this browse button. You can choose the path and then you are able to give the new path so that it will be creating the new path, guys. So this is what the values of database. Okay. So now I'm going to click OK, guys. So the new database will be created. So that's it. If I just click OK, new database is created. See here, Amazon database is created. So this is how, and when the Amazon database is created, if you go and check the path, okay, physical path, C drive, program files, Microsoft SQL Server, instance root directory, MS SQL, data folder. See here, Amazon data file, Amazon log file with 8 MB, 8 MB is created. If this file is increasing, it can, data file is increasing means it can go to 9 GB, 10 GB, 11 GB, 12 GB, like this until there is a free space in my drive, it can grow. After that, it cannot grow. So what will happen? You have to extend the drive with the help of Windows team. We cannot extend the drive, Windows team only can do this activity. Chalo, clear, guys? Yeah. So that's,
we can also restrict the site like unlimited to any particular site, right?
we can do that. We can do that. That's what we discussed, right? Still after creation also we can do that. Okay. Go to properties and go to file space of the database and we can limit it. Okay. If you just limit it, limit the size to 8 GB. So 8,000, something like that, 8,000 MB. It can grow up to 8,000 MB. See here, limited to 8,000 MB.
Right.
Okay, so that it can grow up to 8,000 MB only or 8 GB only. Later, what will happen? You will get errors. If you are still trying to insert the data, you will get errors. Data file is full. You cannot insert the data. Why? Because data file, the limited size is full. So you cannot insert the data. Again, if you want to fix this issue, you have to extend the drive. You have to again set this unlimited growth. So generally, we don't limit the files, guys. It's not good practice to limit the files. Okay, if you limit the files, the data that is coming from the application is not going to be inserted. You will get errors. Data file is full errors. But log file is a limitation up to 2 terabytes. Log file can grow up to 2 terabytes. That is the limitation of the log file. Data file, there is no limitation. Based on the free space in your drive, it can grow. 2 terabytes, 3 terabytes, 10 terabytes, 16 terabytes also it can grow.
Sir, if we choose unlimited, then
Which
or
one?
log file.
Till it will go to 2 terabytes only. It don't grow. Okay. Even though you choose unlimited, it can grow up to 2 terabytes. Log file can grow up to 2 terabytes only. Yes, Chase. That is the initial data and log files. Generally, the same values will be there in the organization also. 8 MB, 8 MB only will be there. But sometimes depends upon the project. Initial size itself, they'll change it to 1024 MB. So depends upon the projects. But 99% 8 MB, 8 MB will be there. Automatically it will grow. Sometimes when you are creating the database, they might ask you, okay, keep 1024 as a data file size, 1024 as a log file size. Like that, they might ask you. Okay, so it depends upon the organization policies. You can add initially also you can add this as a 1024. You can change this value. You can change this value to 1024. It will allow you. Okay, if you click OK, see now check here. See how much free space is there now. How much free space is there? 8.97, right? See now, click OK. Right now check here. 8.97, right? Refresh. 7.97. 1 GB consumed. Like this, if the data file is growing, it is going to decrease. The free space is going to be decreased. Okay, so at one point of time, the whole free space will be completed. Then there will be no free space to extend. In that case, you have to extend the driveways. Chalo, can we please continue? Yes, Ranjana. That's it for now. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry it was extended. So sorry for that. So we can continue the same discussion in the evening. Okay, thank you all. Yeah, evening, same time, 7 PM IST, guys.
Thank you, Shanmugh.
Yeah.